All right, welcome guys. We have a pretty crazy 11-game NBA slate to go over. We have a lot to talk about, so let's just jump right into this, right into the live stream. If you guys are new, how this works is we'll take a look at what we know so far, review the Vegas odds, then I'll go team by team, talk about players I like, and get to questions at the end. So starting from the beginning of the day, Rudy Gay out. Not huge news, but maybe a couple extra minutes for some of secondary Spurs guys. Harden is questionable. I expect him to play, though. It is a back-to-back, but again, only neck injury, neck soreness, so I think he'll play. Blake Griffin out. I think it opens up a few more minutes for guys maybe like TLC off the bench. Maybe Jeff Green picks up a couple extra minutes. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is out. The pricing isn't amazing on those OKC guys, but I think guys maybe like Maladon and Ty Jerome are now in play. Let's see. Some of the stuff's for Thursday. Colin Sexton's out. That's surprising news we just got. I need to see what do they do with the starting line. So, yeah, Garland's viable at 6.6, but not a priority for me. I'm curious to see if they start like Cedi Osman or Quinn Cook, then I have some interest in those guys. No Raptors players will be rested. I think we're basically up to date. Okay, I'm not going to go talk about every single game, but a couple games that stand out as far as over-unders go. A 231 there for Boston and Milwaukee. 231.5 for Dallas and Minnesota. And then 230.5 for the late-night hammer. I really like that game, Atlanta and Sacramento. All right, starting off for Detroit, I'll make this pretty quick. What's going on, guys? Yeah, it wasn't a big one last night for me, but basically close to 3x with that Lakers-Pelicans stack. So I used Kuzma, Zion, Ingram, and NAW, and then ran it back with basically just the Nets. So Harden plus the value. So yeah, it was a pretty solid night. All right, let's talk about Detroit. So on the Detroit side, there's really nothing I like. Jeremy Grant. Two reliant in scoring right now. DeLon Wright, Mason Plumlee, Sadiq Bey. There's just nothing here. Like Isaiah Stewart is now priced up too. He's been the value guy I've been like eyeing for the Pistons, but like at 4.7 just doesn't really make a ton of sense at this price. So honestly, there's nothing I like on the Detroit side. And the Indiana side, it really just depends on this news. Brogdon and Turner, if they're both in, they're all secondary plays for me. I think you could still get to Sabonis at the top as more of a contrarian option. But if Brogdon and Turner are out, then that changes things. Then that makes Sabonis a really good play at the top. Then I like LeVert and McConnell in the mid-range. We'll see if they do the starting lineup. Last time McConnell came off the bench, but he still should play big minutes. So those three guys would look pretty good if Brogdon and Turner are out. But again, we are still waiting on that news. We should get it somewhat soon. We should. All right, let's move on to Denver and Toronto. So on the Denver side, Nikola Jokic at the top at 10.7. I think is a good spend up. Now, is he an optimal spend up? I'm not sure if he's an optimal. I really like the matchup. I don't think he might go a little bit lower owned, right? We have, let's see, Luka against the Timberwolves. We have Harden with no Kyrie and no Kevin Durant. So I do like Jokic. I think maybe he goes a little bit lower owned, but hey, he's going to play 35 minutes, and he's just been playing amazing. And with Jamal Murray, MPJ, and Will Barton, I think all three are in play as well because of the minutes. All three are playing like mid-30s minutes, so I'm fine if you land one of those secondary plays for Denver. I don't think there's one priority play like I look at it and be like, oh, I need to play Jamal Murray at 7.30. No, I think if that's like a last piece in, then sure. But there's no guy that I'm like super excited about. And then everything else I'll probably pass on. I mean, Dozier's at 3-4. If no real value opens up, then yeah, he's in play. Probably plays around 20. Played 28 the last game and got hot. But I have a feeling we might get some value throughout the rest of the night. So keep an eye on stuff for sure. Moving on to Toronto, I'll make this pretty simple. There's not much here. Lowry, Van Fleet, and Siakam. Yes, all three are in play, but there's no priorities. Like if I had to pick one, it would be Siakam just because he's the cheapest at 7.3K. Played 36 minutes last game. I'm expecting mid-30s minutes from him, but yeah, there's not much here for Toronto. Oh, we got a $2 super chat from Cameron. Thank you for everything you do. Let's win. Hey, appreciate that, man. Thank you very much for the support. You didn't have to do that, but that's greatly appreciated. Yeah, let's hope we get a big win tonight. I know there's the Mega Millie tournament tonight. $2,500 entry, $1 million to first. I was looking at that, one of those like, nah, I'm not doing it. But I considered it for a second. I was like, that'd be pretty cool. You have like a 1 in 1,000 chance of winning $1 million. I'm like, nah, I'm not risking $2,500. But if anyone is in here, good luck in that. All right, let's move on to Boston and Milwaukee. So On the Boston side, like, it is a high over-under, but it's just everyone's healthy. So, like, Tatum, Brown, Kemba, all secondary plays for me. Yes, Thompson is out, but, like, Tice is now priced up to 5. Robert Williams is too pricey at 6K. It's just, there's nothing here for me. On the Milwaukee side, it's Giannis. I think he does play. He practiced fully on Tuesday. Yes, they're listing him as questionable, but I do fully expect Giannis to play. If he does play, I think he's going to be a low-owned star. I do. I think ownership will go elsewhere. I think it'll go to Harden. I think it'll go to Luka, maybe a little bit of Jokic. I just think Giannis flies under the radar. I know, Boston is technically a pretty good defensive team, but hey, if Giannis plays, as long as there's no limit, he's going to play 35-plus minutes in a close game. Great point per minute guy. I do kind of like Giannis for tournaments if he does play. And again, I do think he will. Now, if he's out, if he surprisingly gets ruled out, then that changes everything, right? Then it's basically back to, what was it, last night or 2 nights ago? 2 nights ago. So then, again, it's Middleton, it's Drew, it's Portis, and then even guys like Connaughton, DiVincenzo. But I'm not banking on that. I do think Giannis does play in this one. All right, where are we at, guys? Almost 200 viewers, 37 likes. I appreciate that. Thank you. If you do enjoy this content, if you hit that like button, it really does help me. Let's see. All right. We get a full 20 minutes. Yeah, exactly. All right, let's move on to Charlotte and Houston. So this is a game that actually does look kind of appealing. Two teams that don't play great defense, two teams that play a little bit faster. So no LaMelo Ball, obviously. Gordon Hayward at the top at 7-9. I think is actually a safer play. Should play mid-30s minutes. Him and Rozier are kind of going to be the top dogs now in this offense. And again, this game should be played a little bit of a faster pace. Rozier at 7-1. He's actually been playing pretty well for Charlotte. I don't love the price, but those two guys, the top two guys, are in play. PJ's too pricey for me with Cody Zeller back. I think he loses minutes. There's two other guys I think are viable here. Devontae Graham should play around 30 minutes. He's priced now above 5K. He really hasn't been amazing this year. He's kind of had a down year. Like last year, he started off so hot. I think, assuming he starts the point guard position, we should get around 30 minutes. I think it's a fair play. Like, fair play for Devontae Graham, not a priority. And then, you can use Malik Monk off the bench. I think he plays mid-20s minutes. A guy that, will get some shot attempts up, a little bit more reliant in the scoring. So I will say, a little riskier of a value play. But those four guys, mainly, though, Hayward and Rozier at the top. Moving on to Houston. So Christian Wood I actually like quite a bit here. 36 minutes 2 games ago on a minutes limit. 28 minutes where he got in severe foul trouble in the first half there against Toronto. So probably would have played like 35, 36 like John Wall did. If Christian Wood plays 35 minutes in this matchup, I could see him having a really big game. I don't know if a lot of people are going to get to him. So I do kind of like Christian Wood. With Wall versus Oladipo, might give the edge to John Wall. He went for a triple-double the last game. Again, this game should be played at a bit of a faster pace. And I'm assuming we get mid-30s minutes, right? John Wall, at times this year, has been limited to like mid-20s to low 30s minutes. All signs are him. They're just letting him play as much as he wants. So I think we get 35, 36 minutes out of John Wall. I'm intrigued there. Value-wise, there's not much here. I don't think we have to get to anyone else on Houston. Yeah, Quinn Cook. Yeah, I think if he starts, I think Quinn Cook would be a good value. So yeah, keep an eye on Cleveland. Whoever starts we'll talk about that in a sec. But okay, still no news. All right, where are we at time-wise? We still got a little bit of time left. Okay, so let's move on to Phoenix and Orlando. On the Phoenix side, the price that stands out to me once again is DeAndre Ayton. I know I got some of you guys on DeAndre Ayton last night. Right, he was a guy that was like, people kept asking, like, who do you like in the 6K range? I was like, hey, it's DeAndre Ayton. It's DeAndre Ayton. I think he's underpriced even though it's a bad matchup. He went for 48 fantasy points. Now, I'm not expecting 48 fantasy points again from him. But 32 and 34 minutes, right, these two games, don't be worried. Foul trouble, foul trouble. So, if we get around 30 minutes from DeAndre Ayton, I think he is a pretty safe play. As long as he stays out of foul trouble. That's the only concern going up against Vooch. But yeah, right now, it seems the plan is to play DeAndre Ayton over 30 minutes. If that is the case, I think he's underpriced here. As far as the main two guys, Booker and Paul, priced about right. I don't think I'm going to get to either of them in this one. And value, no thanks. I guess you can consider Cam Johnson because he's 3.5. 15 to 20 minutes is what I'm expecting, but I don't know if we have to go there. And the Magic side, so Nikola Vucevic at the top, I think is an interesting contrarian play. But again, the price I don't love. Aaron Gordon was somewhat popular last night. I mean, we'll see if he even plays. There's rumors about him getting traded. Again, he's been requesting a trade, so doesn't really want to be here. I don't love the matchup there either. Fournier, I know he had a good shooting game last game. I'm not chasing that. The guy that is somewhat intriguing for value is Al-Farouq Aminu, who played 29 minutes last game, went for almost a triple-double, which is just insane. There's not a ton of standout value. I will say that. There's really not a ton of like smash value on the slate. So, hey, and maybe there's a chance Aaron Gordon gets traded, or like maybe they just don't want to play Aaron Gordon this game because, again, they want to trade him. Hey, then I think Al-Farouq Aminu could play over 30. The positives with Al-Farouq Aminu are he's a guy that can stuff the stat sheet, right? So he can get some rebounds, some assists, some blocks, and steals. It feels like chasing a little bit, but then again, you look at the slate. There's 11 games, and there's really not like a ton of smash guys, right? Smash value plays. You're like, oh, I'm locking this guy in. So I could see you getting to Al-Farouq Aminu at that price. Okay, let's refresh again. Jason Tatum will play. We did expect that. Patrick with the $5 super chat. I appreciate all your videos and information you provide for us. Good luck tonight. Hey, thank you, man. You are in the live streams and the videos every single day, so I really appreciate your support, your positivity. That is greatly, greatly appreciated. So thank you, good luck, and I hope you have a big night tonight. All right, so let's move on to Cleveland and Chicago. Cleveland, again, so the big news now is Colin Sexton is not playing. So I think the guy I have the most interest in for Cleveland is whoever starts for Sexton. And I think there's two options here. I think it's Cedi Osman at 4K or it's Quinn Cook at min price. Like Quinn Cook is actually a pretty decent point per minute guy, a guy that can get some assists. He played 18 minutes last game. I know in a blowout, but I think there's an outside chance he might start. So if Quinn Cook starts tonight, I think he's probably the best value on the slate. If Cedi Osman starts, I think we get probably at least mid-20s to close to 30 minutes, and then I would like him for value. So my main interest for Cleveland is whoever starts for Colin Sexton. Now, yes, Darius Garland gets a boost at 6'6". I don't love the price point. He can definitely pay off that salary, but he would not be a priority for me. Jarrett Allen's fine. Again, I do like targeting bigs against the front court, but it's like still don't love the price. Yeah, JaVale McGee had a big game last game, but like normally he's only going to play like 12 to 14 minutes, so just strictly a GPP play. So that wraps it up. Again, main interest is whoever starts for Colin Sexton. Let's move on to Chicago. So Chicago, a few guys. Sidney Ransky's the guy that I think looks the best because the price at 4.6. Should play around 30 minutes. A guy that can do the peripheral stats, right? 7, 5, 9, and 4 assists. He can get some rebounds. He can score the ball. So, again, not a ton of standout value. I think Satoransky's a pretty decent value play. The other option I'm looking to is Zach LaVine at 8.5K. There's 11 games tonight. There's a ton of stars in this slate. So Zach LaVine's going to go overlooked. We know the upside is 50+. I think people are kind of looking in different directions tonight. So I'm actually okay getting to LaVine for tournaments. 3 of the last 4 games, 21, 20, and 25 shot attempts. And then, yeah, Thad Young, mid-20s minutes, a guy that is actually pretty safe, but not a guy that I love. And then nothing else really that I'm looking to in Chicago. All right, so we got 5 games left, guys. 250 viewers, 61 likes. I appreciate that, guys. Can we get to 100 before I end the show? That would be greatly appreciated. What about Dotson? I mean, if Dotson starts, maybe, right? Whoever starts for Sexton, I like for value. It could be Dotson. I'm guessing it would be either Quinn Cook or Cedi Osman. If we go back to Cleveland, Dotson's kind of been more out of the rotation, I guess. I think he did play 16 minutes against New Orleans, but it was actually, again, Quinn Cook was over him in the rotation, so I think it would be one of him or Cedi that does pick up the start. We'll see, though. We'll see. I don't think Aiden's going to be super popular. Mark with the $5 super chat. DK, thanks for all the great advice. But the thing I like the best and makes me laugh is when you get tilted in the early videos. Hey, appreciate that, man. Glad you like the videos. And of course, right, I gotta tilt when weird stuff like that happens, right? With John Wall, minutes limit, get off him, still plays 36 minutes. When you just get this random stuff like that, where it's just like, okay. Yeah, so glad you like the videos and glad you like the tilts in a bit. That will obviously continue if we get weird stuff happening again. All right, let's move on to Memphis and OKC. So Memphis, Jonas Valanciunas and John Morant at the top are both, I think, good tournament plays. I think you could go to Ja in cash, honestly. I would say probably not like a priority cash game play, but hey, 35 minutes and 41 in overtime, so 35 and 36 minutes in back-to-back games. Oklahoma City is not a good defensive team, so I think Ja is actually a pretty safe play. Jonas Valanciunas for tournaments, just because the minutes fluctuate on him. He is a really good point per minute guy. Value, not much. If I had to pick one, it would be Grayson Allen at 4K, and that's only because of the minutes, right? Only because he's played 32 and 33 minutes in back-to-back games, but still not something that I'm like super excited about. On the OKC side, so yes, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is out, but is there a must-play in OKC? No, I don't think so. Horford being in, you can take a shot on Horford, but I'm probably not going to do it in this slate. There's a lot of good center plays. That takes Moses Brown out of play for me. That kind of takes Isaiah Roby out of play. Porzingis probably loses a few minutes. I'm not super interested in Dort at that price. The two guys that I guess I'm looking to, probably Maledon and Ty Jerome. Maledon should run more of the point, should play about 30 minutes, but just seems like, hey, it's not like he's super cheap. And then Jerome off the bench, I think, gets mid-20s minutes. He's flashed some upside, so maybe if you're shooting for the upside, you go Ty Jerome off the bench. Those are really the two guys, and that's it. Again, neither are priorities for me. Dallas and Minnesota. So on the Dallas side, Luka I really like. I think he's one of the best spend-ups. Probably an optimal spend-up, right? Him or Harden or Jokic. Maybe pick two of those guys if you're building like a cash game lineup, but as long as his game stays close, that's the only worry, is a blowout. As long as his game stays close, he's going to play 35-plus minutes. It's a great matchup. So, yeah, I really do like Luka. I'm fine with Porzingis for tournaments. He's been a little bit more up and down, though. And then value-wise, there's not much here with Dorian Finney-Smith healthy. I'm moving on to Minnesota. So, on the Minnesota side, Cat is a GPP play, I think is fine. Not a cash game play because I do feel safer about other spend-ups. But if you want to pair Luka with Karl-Anthony Towns for tournaments, I'm all about that, right? This is a game that Karl-Anthony Towns has played 35, 36, 36, and 38 minutes. He's playing big minutes. He's a guy that, should be able to have his way against his Dallas front court. So I actually am intrigued by Cat in tournaments. Anthony Edwards still tilting about that the other night. Finally buy into him, and he gets very limited minutes and doesn't shoot like he has been. Rubio, I actually think is in play because the minutes 33 and 34, 10, 11, 12 assists in 3 of the last 4 games. I think he's actually viable in the mid-range. Value-wise, I just don't think we have to go there on this one. All right, so we got 3 games left. Let's check back on Fantasy Labs, see if we got any more updates here. So Miles Turner in, Malcolm Brogdon in. Okay, so with that being said, I think there's no priorities for me on the Pacers. I think Sabonis is still an interesting contrarian spend up, but I just have a hard time playing Sabonis for over guys like maybe like Harden or Luka or Jokic. So and Pacers may be a stay away from me now with those two guys healthy. All right, Clippers and the Spurs. So Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, the top. I think both are decent options. Paul George more for tournaments, Kawhi more for cash. Revenge game narrative should play 35 minutes. I think Kawhi goes overlooked in the slate. Yes, I have some interest in Zubac. Not a great sign that he didn't close it last game. It was weird, right? You had guys like Kennard and Terrence Mann play super well off the bench, so maybe that's why Zubac didn't close. If I knew Zubac was going to play 35 minutes again tonight, I actually would like him a good amount, but a little riskier now that we saw, only 25 last game. And this one, I wouldn't, be concerned about it because that was a blowout. So, I do have some interest in Zubac. A little bit worried about the minutes based off the last game. I know Kennard and Mann both have big games. I think Kennard played well enough, obviously, right? 8 of 8, 40 fantasy points, basically, that he's going to be in the rotation. But like, how much as he plays a little bit more in question. So like, I guess you could take a shot in Kennard and GPPs, but I really have no idea how many minutes he's going to play. Again, Terrence Mann also had a big game, but just like, it kind of feels like an outlier game for both them, so no priorities there. And then that's probably it for me for the Clippers. Moving on to the Spurs, honestly, there's not much here. DeRozan is contrarian spend up, sure. Keldon and Derek White seem priced about right. Probably one of these main guys will have a good game, but I'm not going to the guessing game here in this slate. Yes, there's no Lonnie. Yes, there's no Rudy Gay. Sure, Patty Mills probably plays 30 minutes. Vassell maybe gets 20-ish off the bench if you want to get a little risky as a value play, but there's not much here. All right, 2 games left. I think these games are really two of the better games for sure, especially the last game. So, all right, Ross is out. Not big news there. All right, so on the Brooklyn side, James Harden, assuming he plays, I do think he plays. I think he's actually a really good spend up. Yes, the Utah Jazz are good defensively, but it just doesn't matter, right? James Harden had a bad shooting game. He shot 7 of 24 and still put up 62 fancy points. And sure enough, right, he was questionable yesterday. He got ruled in after lock. He was only 50% owned against Portland. He should have been like 90% owned. I'm thinking, again, I do think he plays. If he gets rolled in way after lock, I think he's actually going to be a little bit lower owned. So I actually really like Harden here at the top. I think he's one of the best spend ups of the slate. And value-wise, Nick Claxton, I think, is a safer value play. He played 22 minutes last game. He's a good point per minute guy. There's no Blake Griffin. Maybe he plays a couple extra minutes. So I actually do kind of like Claxton for value. The wings, yeah, Jeff Green is fine. He had a good shooting game. Probably plays mid-30s minutes. Bruce Brown, it wasn't good to see that he only played 22 minutes. So a little bit worrisome there with Bruce Brown. Other value plays, a couple other guys. So Tyler Johnson off the bench probably plays around 20-ish minutes. If Harden is in, yeah, you can use him. Again, a good score. And then TLC, too, with no Blake Griffin, I think probably plays mid-20s minutes. He played 27 the last game. So those two guys, I think, are in play. Now, if Harden is out, then that obviously changes everything. Then you're going to want at least a couple of these guys. Then I think it's probably like Tyler Johnson, Bruce Brown priorities for me. And then like probably at least get to like one more. So then the whole slate flips, like just completely changes. And then you want to get at least a couple Brooklyn value guys. Like that's where you get the value if Harden is out. But I do think Harden plays. Finally on the Utah side, Mitchell, Gobert, Conley. It is a really good matchup. No priority plays for me. If you're shooting for the upside, though, it is down to Mitchell. Final game here because I do want to leave some questions for the end. Atlanta and Sacramento. Absolutely love this game to stack. Two teams that play fast, two teams that play no defense. Trae Young at 8-7. I think he's actually playable in both formats because the price should play mid-30s minutes. Again, fantastic spot. You guys know by now. Love targeting players against this Kings team. With Capella versus Collins, I lean Capella. I think he's, when they're both in, he's the better point per minute guy. Went for 33 fancy points in 29 minutes. I think he could have a massive game here. I think he's going overlooked in the slate. I really like Capella, but only for tournaments. Only for tournaments because the minutes, right? Gallinari, questionable. I don't think he plays. If he misses, I think Bogdan Bogdanovic probably plays mid to high 20s minutes. Revenge game narrative. A guy that, does have upside. So I am intrigued by Bogdan. Those are the three guys I've mentioned for Atlanta. On the Sacramento side, I love the Kings tonight. Absolutely love. I think all 5 starters look really good here. Fox, Holmes, Hield, Barnes, Halliburton. Fox should play close to 40 minutes. Again, up-tempo game. Rashawn Holmes, as long as he stays out of foul trouble, has a good amount of upside. We've seen basically 50 fancy points from him in 3 of the last 5 games. As long as he stays out of foul trouble, again, I think we get around 35 minutes. I do like Holmes, but only for tournaments because of the foul trouble risk there. With Hield and Harrison Barnes, I'm fine with both. Hield, 38 minutes last game. Barnes, 41. Right, the minutes are there for those guys. If they're last piece in, that's all right with me. And then Halliburton, I think actually is a safer play. Played 36 minutes the last game. Sure, he had a really good shooting game, but he didn't do like any of the peripherals. So I expect Halliburton to have a more balanced stat line, right? He's a guy that can go out and get you 5 assists, 5-6 rebounds, and score the ball. So I do like Halliburton. I do think he plays big minutes. The bench guys, not much, right? It's the starters are going to play majority of the game. So I am high on all 5 starters. Sacramento's a team I really like today. All right, so that is it for my breakdown, guys. Saved about a little less than 10 minutes for some questions. So let's see. We are up to date here. Let's do it. Let's get to some questions. Jokic or Giannis? Ooh. I think Jokic, but it's really close. Best player for 3.4. I think there's 2 guys that are in play. I think you got Dozier and TLC. TLC with no Blake Griffin, I would assume plays mid-20s minutes. So those are probably the 2 guys. I don't love either. Harden News was on, let's see. Hey, DK, got here late and haven't paid attention to the news today. Where's the value? Value, there's actually not a lot of standout value. I think, Brooklyn, possibly, especially if Harden gets ruled out, that's where we can get some value. But I will say there's no like smash value play tonight. And then spend ups, I think you got, Luka, Harden, assuming he plays, and I do think he plays, and then probably Jokic. Jovel, Capella, or Ayton. So it depends what you're playing. Depends what you're playing, cash or GPP. How do you feel about completely stacking the late game? Yeah. I like it for tournaments. Obviously not a cash game build, but I like that for tournaments. Came late, any plays you feel good about. I like the late game a lot, Sacramento and Atlanta. Stars, again, Luka, Jokic, Harden. I disagree. Claxton did very well last night. They'll need him again tonight. Yeah, I think Claxton, especially with no Blake Griffin, might play mid-20s minutes. He's a good point per minute guy. I do like Claxton for value. There's not a ton of smash value on the slate. Rozier, Wall, or Halliburton. If price doesn't matter, it's John Wall. Fave low-owned stud for FanDuel. I kind of like Giannis as a low-owned star. I think he goes overlooked. I do. Thoughts on Speed DK? Not for me on this one. Best power forward other than Giannis today? Depends what I needed. What price range? Halliburton or Rozier? Again, if price doesn't matter, Rozier, but I think the price is a little bit better on Halliburton. Bogdan or Osman if he starts? I think I'd lean Osman if he starts. I like, again, value. We could get value whoever starts for section. So keep an eye on that, guys. I think it's either Osman or Quinn Cook. Winslow, not out of play, but it's not something I really feel good about. Luka or Harden with Jokic. I mean, Luka's in the better matchup, but I think Harden's honestly got a little bit more upside. Might lean Harden if you're shooting for the upside. Thoughts on Pacers covering the -6 tonight? With them fully healthy, I think they can definitely do it. Pistons are not a great team. 4.1K for forward. Already have Osman and Bogdan. Then there's probably not much. You can go down to TLC at the flat min, or what's he, 3-1. I think he plays decent minutes, but yeah, other than that, Al-Farouq Aminu. I think it would be Aminu, 28 and 29 minutes. If he's going to play close to 30 minutes, then yeah, Aminu's probably the one. Sabonis and Ayton or Porzingis and Holmes and GPP. Ooh. Might be the Porzingis Holmes one. I think that's got a little bit more upside. And the only reason I say that is Pacers are now fully healthy. I still think Sabonis could have a big game, but a little bit less likely now. Porzingis and Holmes are definitions of GPP plays, right? Both have been up and down. The upside is there though. Stars and scrubs today. Yeah. I think more suited for that. Halliburton, Monk, TLC, Giannis, Claxton, Young, Holmes, Ayton for GPP. I like that. Best mid-tier center. Good question. There's definitely a few options here. Let's see. For tournaments, I'm pretty high on both centers in this Hawks-Kings game. So Capella, Holmes for tournaments. I like them both for GPPs. Cash games in the mid-range, I think it's more of a DeAndre Ayton. And the reason is just, again, the price, minutes, should play around 30-ish. 5'8" is a little bit too cheap for a guy that's going to play around 30 minutes. So I think that's where I go for a cash game. For GPP, I think the centers in the late game. Okoro, I just hate playing. I've never played Isaac Okoro. I don't know if I can stomach it. What's his price at? He's at 3.8. Probably get around 30 minutes. I just think I have more confidence in whoever starts. Assume it's either Osman or Quinn Cook. I have more confidence in them. So, Chetty, Dozier, and Campaign. I'm not really looking to Campaign for value, to be honest. Siakam or Holmes. I think Siakam for cash, Holmes for tournaments. I don't love Siakam, but Holmes is just not a guy I play in cash games. How many Kings is too many? For cash games, I probably only play 1 or 2. For GPPs, I think you could go 3 if you're stacking it. Again, 11 game slate, stacking a game is not optimal at all. But I take, you guys know I take pretty big risks, and that's just a risk I'm taking tonight. Wood or Hayward's a good question. I think I lean Wood if you could get to him. Yeah, TLC for value. Yep, exactly. I think he's firmly in play. Yeah, you can use Donovan Mitchell. So you could use Mitchell and Harden as a pair for tournaments. How many players are too many for a full game stack? If you're full stacking, I think you can go anywhere from 5 to 7. I mean, he requested to get traded, Aaron Gordon, so we'll see. I would say probably a better chance he does get traded than not. But thoughts on Dort? Not for me. Aminu viable went crazy. Yeah, I think Aminu's in play. I just hate Evan Fournier. Yeah, he'll get shot attempts up, and he hit his shots. That's why he got there last game. He's just very reliant in the scoring, and almost 7K. Trey, Bogdan, Osman, Holmes, Ayton, Fox, Capella, and Amy. I think it's a good lineup. Rudy Gobert, Jarrett Allen. Ooh. Probably Gobert just because the Nets are terrible against centers. You just saw what Cantor did. Ayton okay. Yeah, I think Ayton's okay for cash. I do. It's just a price point thing, right? I don't love the matchup, but he should, as long as he stays out of foul trouble. That's the only concern there is foul trouble. If he stays out of foul trouble, I think we get 30 minutes. Rozier or Wall, Gobert or Capella. Capella for the discount. How do you feel about Harden, Tyrese, Bogdan, Barnes, Ayton, Fox? I think that's a good lineup. Johnson for the Suns, Dozier or Kennard. Probably Dozier. Holmes or Healed, Holmes. Turner or Zubac. I mean, Turner might be a little bit safer and more confident with his minutes. But I think Zubac, if he plays 35 again, is probably the guy you want to look to. Can't fade Jamal Murray's going for 50. Yeah, Jamal is fine for tournaments for sure. Winslow, viable, not my favorite value. Mitchell or Young, Aminu or Levine. And you might have to ask the question again. I've heard Zubac is actually be somewhat popular. For single entry, Luka, Donovan Mitchell, Osman, TLC, Jokic, Shozier, Bogdan, Maladon. I think that's fine. Thoughts on Fox, Bogdan, Jeff Green, Holmes. Yeah, Dort's not really a guy I'm looking to. Is Aminu chasing? Yeah, most definitely LO, but he's cheap. Yep. Yeah, again, Aminu, it feels like chasing a little bit, but hey, there's not much value on the slate. Would you take any guard cheaper than Ja over Jive, 7,500 for a cash game? Let's see, 7,500. Okay, so wouldn't play DeJounte in cash. Obviously, no Sexton. I don't play Jamal Murray in cash. No on Drew Holiday, unless, Giannis is out. Rozier, you could make the argument, but I think I would still lean Ja. So, yeah, Ja's probably the guy there. All right, guys, one more minute, and then I'm going to call it 7K for a forward. So, let's see. Ooh, Sean Holmes at 7-1. I don't really love MPJ or Gordon. I think I would go to one of the Sacramento guys, either Healed or Barnes. Yeah, Garland's in play, but I think again I like whoever starts for Sexton more. That would not be enough with the crowns to enter it. I think I don't know how much I have worth in crowns, but it's definitely not 2,500. Oh, Victor Oladipo rolled out. Well. Okay, so with Victor Oladipo out, I think John Wall and Christian Wood are both really good plays. I do. John Wall is going to play. Hey, he's been on a minutes limit, and he's played 35 and 36 minutes. No Oladipo. Good matchup. I am very high now on John Wall. I think he's one of the best plays of the slate. He shot the ball 30 times last game. 30 times. And then Christian Wood, also great point per minute guy. I think those two actually now look really good with Victor Oladipo out. Would I get to any value? Probably not still. Like, yeah, you could. I think House and Sterling Brown are playable at 4.9 and 4.5, but neither would be a priority. So again, it's Wall, it's Wood. Both look pretty good now with Victor Oladipo out. They do. Yeah, Oladipo could be traded. You never know. So, probably Osman if he starts. I know I'm a little bit upset because now I'm thinking about getting to one of those, one of Wall or Christian Wood. But that's gonna do it for the stream today, guys. So keep an eye on that news. Good luck to everyone. It's a crazy slate. Might be one where you have to be on your phone all night. I hope you guys have a great night, and I'll see you back here for another stream on Thursday.